Hello there everyone and welcome to the third episode of my song reviews for Eurovision 2025. It's been a while since I did the previous two, the song from Montenegro and the song from Albania. I've talked about those before, please check those videos out if you're interested. Today, however, all of the focus is on the Netherlands. There's no real reason why I picked the Netherlands next up, other than the fact that I just felt in the mood to talk about it because I quite like this song really. It's called C'est la vie by Claude, and basically what I'm going to do in this video is just tell you why I like it. So let's get through this song. And this is, of course, the music video that I'm watching here. So there's a little bit of like a silence early on here. Well, basically just the sound from the recording here. But one thing I think we should all really pay attention to early on in the song is probably the chord progression, I would say. Because it kind of covers like the entire scale, except the two chord. Otherwise, all of them are kind of in here. One thing we notice early on as well here, it's this very full vocal. It's a very tangible opening in just establishing a mood. And you feel like the chords are really very poignant in the movement here. And the major 5 chord coming here and here at the end. So before we move on, I call this chord progression kind of, like in my head, I call it the It's a Sin chord progression because that's the song that I associated with. Now I guess I have another song to associate it with. But it's a very, very effective chord progression. It moves throughout the entire scale, really, and kind of takes a very natural flow to it all. And because it's so like extended, there are so many chord intervals in this progression, you just feel like it's a constant development, and the vocal is really being allowed to carry the melody of the track forward here on top of those chords. Having such a full characteristic voice as Claude has here as well, of course, elevates that, and you really feel like you listen to every word because of the backdrop being so scaled back as well. It's just piano here early on, and it's a very effective one at that. However, what happens here after this little opening, after the major 5 chord here, is something that I really like, and we'll just pay attention to what happens with the tempo here, I guess. Because it's very slowly, gradually increasing the tempo here. We realize it's so carefully developing here. I like that so much. Big kind of sweeping sound effect as well, filling out the void. Beat comes in there, but I just think we should kind of focus on this build-up because I think it's such a brilliantly well put together build-up that really is what hooks me about the song. I think that the introduction of this track as a whole is really just stellar, to be honest. The opening being so scaled back, lovely chords, great vocal introducing the track, and then you got this tempo automation leading into the song when it kicks into gear, really. Got a little bit of nice effect work here. I mean, this kind of sweep that it's using, it finishes off quite early before the actual beat takes in, but you just kind of fill this void with the resonance that it leaves on. Like once it's done, you kind of have the release. It's a very long release. Let's go back to this kind of build up here. Again, it has this very swaying motion in this melody as well, which is very effective due to how the tempo automates here. I feel like everything's just silent here. We got the piano chords moving downwards and into this section. Now, I guess one of my qualms with this part of the track is probably like it's very reliant on this la 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 part, which isn't too much fun, I'd say. One thing that is quite fun here though is definitely the drum beat, like the percussive pattern that it's using, because it has definitely a sway to it as well. It's very much a 1, 2, 3 and 4 end kind of pattern. However, what they do here is that they put the and 4 end so tightly into each other. So instead of just being 1, 2, 3 and 4, wait, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. Instead we got 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. It's like a little bit of a syncopation that's really quite addictive, I would say. So if we listen to it again, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2. It's very, very effective in that, and I really like the way that that engages the listener. Okay, a little bit of a fill there, back into the second verse. Like how the percussion is actually maintained here. Now we're layering it with a clap as well. Very nice. And a little bit of strings detailed, coming in and out, really. I feel like these very subtle detailing, like let's listen here at like 126. Just listen to the right ear, you got a little bit of a string detail there. A little bit of a wobbling in there. And this swaying motion again with the melody here, it's very nice. It really builds momentum into the track. and pausing. And here you kind of got like a tempo automation slowing down as well before going back into the hook of the track, really. Now, in my humble opinion, the hook is a little bit uninspired, I suppose, or whatever you'd like to say, because it is kind of predictable in terms of its movement. Kind of keeps going here. The instrumental expands here, which provides the variation. You hear the strings being, like the top line being elevated here to build the song into what really becomes one of my favorite parts of the track coming up now here. The melodic variation here. And you feel the vocal elevating so much here. And again, you know, it's a chord progression, definitely helps with making this part so strong. A little bit of a continuation there as well. Okay, before the outro, like this part from like 2:13 or something like that, it's just such an pleasant and satisfactory continuation of the track, because you've got the momentum going from the beat, from the hook, and even though the hook is not really that intriguing for me anyway, the way that it's leading into the actual selling point and highlight of the track, I think that's very carefully planned out and executed quite nicely. How they actually use this instrumental and expands that leading into this continuation is very, very effective, because you feel like, okay, you got the la 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 parts all together here, but what happens during like the 2-minute mark is that you notice that the strings keep elevating and they kind of become the top line of the track to actually showcase we're going somewhere with this. We're not going into a breakdown that just kills the mood of the track. We're actually going to continue and utilize this momentum that we have. Let's listen to it one more time and just pay attention to it. You got the string very far up. Also, one thing that's going on with it is that it's panning. So it kind of starts in the right ear, moving swiftly to the left and then back to the right. Constant motion in it. Strings keep going here, same thing. Kind of got the piano being a little bit of a layer in here as well. But it's all about the vocal in this part, I would say. Very effortless, and how that works with the chords as well. And again, sorry for pausing again, but like this little, just very brief continuation here, and you can listen to the piano elevating. Is it even like an octave? It sounds like it. It kind of becomes like this shrieking sound. It feels very desperate or very intense in a way, how the piano chords move from just being subtle in the background behind the vocal to the part where the piano is actually just taking over for those brief few seconds. Let's pay attention to it again. Just listen to the piano, solo it out here. It's quite subtle in this part of the track. But now with the continuation, very dramatic, very nice. And kind of back to the opening build-up, you know, with the tempo automation that we had back then. Here, everything's kind of in tempo, for now anyway. But slowing it down for the very finale. And you know what really ties it all together throughout the track as well is the vocal. It's very, very strong. I just realized that the song is kind of short. It's definitely not 3 minutes long, because they obviously had an intro as well. But yeah, those are really like the main thoughts that I have about the track. I'm not sure, hopefully I got the point across mostly. I feel like what really sets this song apart is probably, firstly, like the actual chord progression that the song is based off. It's a very effective one, and one that makes the melody flow really effortlessly on top of it, because as long as the melody actually follows the patterns of these chords and how they move, you got something that constantly provides tension and resolution throughout like every single interval in that chord progression, which is very, very nice. I like that. I'm a big fan. Then you also got like the instrumental quality of it. I like the percussion of the track mainly, because of that kind of rhythmic sway that it has, as I said before, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 end. It's just this kind of, I don't even know what to call it, but it's a little bit of a swinging pattern to really just establish a different kind of energy into it all, I suppose. A lot of work with mainly strings and piano in the back, in like the instrumentation of this song, I would say. And like a lot of the details that they do, like how the strings actually pan during that chorus and its continuation. You got it starting up in the right ear, and then you feel like there's this constant motion going back and forth between the right and the left, as the vocals are just kind of be the constant in the middle. But the piano, that little elevation that I mentioned as well, brilliant, I feel. And it feels quite rewarding structurally as well, this song, I feel. There's no real kind of moments where I feel like the transition is rough or it's unjust in the song. It just flows quite naturally, and the way that it's using these tempo automations is very, very, I would say, impressive, really, because it's a way of building momentum and quite a bit of drama into your song as well. I think one thing that we should really pay attention to as well before I finish it up is probably the vocal arrangement in the song, because I haven't mentioned it. But of course, the main thing is that we have a very full vocal from Claude here. But we should also pay attention to the backing vocals that we get throughout the song. I'll put it a bit quiet here, because it's getting into the chorus where you have the la 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 melody. Okay, it's coming. You feel like you got the whole... So there's like a kind of a whispery little, very subtle kind of layer of backing vocals on top of just the la 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 words. It feels like C'est la vie, he's kind of on his own singing, but the la 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 parts, they just have a little bit of an extra emphasis behind the main vocal. You kind of pan them out a little bit so they make sure that it feels a bit more collective and kind of polyphonic in that way. We'll listen to it again. So you got the la 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 vie. You just got that little bit of extra kind of width to those notes as well, which is a nice touch. I mean, I'm not sold on the hook and its concept melodically, but at least they're definitely doing something quite effective in the way that they present it here. I think that's got to be it. Like, I've pretty much covered everything I feel about it. The production is pretty crisp as well. I have no qualms with that. Not the most like extraordinary sound design in any way or so, but I don't think that's really what they're going for either. It's quite a classically or a very, what do you say, kind of a formulaic way of designing the sounds of the track, because it's clear-cut instrumentation being used here, not a lot of synth work per se. So yeah, it all just comes together quite nicely, and I really do like the flow of the song. And yeah, plenty of good things that I really think about this one. And I'd be also interested, of course, to know if you feel similarly, or if you kind of are not particularly excited about this one. I would understand both kind of sides of things. For me personally, this is something that I can definitely click with, and I have done so as well. And hopefully I've gotten my point across somewhat reasonably well in this video, so that you understand why I like it the way that I do. But please share your thoughts on this song as well. How well do you think it will do in Eurovision in May? I think it could have some quite strong potential, really. Vocally, it sounds very convincing, so that's an exciting part of it all. And I'd be excited to just see how this will come across. I'm definitely hoping for this one to qualify, that's for sure, at least song-wise. So yeah, exciting times ahead. Please let me know what you think of the song in the comments. Please also let me know if there's something you agree or disagree with me with what I've said. And hopefully I'll get another one of these song reviews out pretty soon again. Not sure what country that would be, but one of the ones that are competing this year. Thank you for watching today's video. Have a good one until I hopefully see you again very, very soon. And bye for now.